welcome to Acolyte Insights Explosion Network's after show, where we break down and discuss each and every episode of the Star Wars Disney Plus original series, The Acolyte. My name's Don Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here, and I'll be honest, I'll probably stab a lady if she started dissipating as well.
All right, fair enough. Fair call. This week's episode, gut reaction. This week's episode is titled Choice. Bruh? Choice, bro. Directed by Kokonda, written by Charmaine the Great, Jen Richards, Jasmine Flawney. It's written and directed by the same people that did the last flashback episode. There you go. There's your tie together. Synopsis is: a bit of truth is revealed. What did you think of last week's episode, Ash?
Yeah, it was good. I feel like, the penultimate episode, I would have liked to have it feel like it was more.
Is it the reveal that doesn't feel epic enough? Or
I don't know, yeah. I think obviously the placement in the series. That the thing that we're, as the audience, are most interested in right now is Kumiya and Osha. And now we're going back to this thing that is completely unrelated to them, kind of. Replaying these events. I feel like I think this would have worked better if it wasn't just flashback. If it was some sort of bookended in some way with what's happening currently. Especially because we got the storytelling device of what's his name?
Which one?
Sol is telling May what's happened.
What
happened? We assume.
Yeah.
I would like to see the reactions from May as he's telling his side of the story.
I mean, what is his side of the story here? Like, what's the pitch?
We came to your camp. We thought there was bad shit happening, and I accidentally killed your mum. Also,
is that a good pitch?
I had a choice between saving you or saving Osha. I purposely decided to sacrifice you so I could save her. Because you were too far gone, and she had an opportunity to become a Jedi.
Yeah, maybe.
Bit easier to tell her like an adult one than a little cheap kid, I guess.
Yeah. I thought this was probably the worst episode of the show. I'm not saying I hated it, but like if I was, being a Star Wars proper critiquer like I am, and want to rage bait. No, but I definitely feel like it's just the least interesting. It was the least engaging, and I do think part of the problem is exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head. We leave the last week's episode. I'm like all about what's happening with the unknown character / Kumiya, whatever.
The stranger.
Everything's happening there, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then we flash back to this, and none of this is because the thing is, I don't think there's any big reveals here. It just does the Star Wars thing of from a certain point of view, like
tie-in.
Yeah. So, I don't feel like there's any.
It's like a case of people misunderstanding each other and then ending up killing each other.
Yeah, which is fine. Like that's sort of what we almost expected. I mean, I had this big theory about there being a third party involved.
Yep. Nope.
Didn't happen.
Unless it counts the Force.
What
are they looking for again? A
virgins.
A virgins.
A virgins in the Force. Yes. Which my Star Wars knowledge for this stuff is minimum at times, but the basically what they're saying is that the events of the first arc of the High Republic stories, which the first book starts with this thing which the Jedi are investigating, and that they're basically saying that happens like 100 years before this series, which sort of helps place the books against this series. Because the first book, whatever that was called, I can't remember now, but the first High Republic book was started with this big mystery surrounding this hyperspace disaster, which is something appeared, people tried to dodge it, a bunch of people died, but then like this ship stuff just spat out of hyperspace everywhere and like either really damaged planets and stuff or like straight up destroyed planets at times. And it was this massive, obviously, disaster. That's the reference. Then they're saying that caused this planet to be, I guess it was hit by part of something from the hyperspace event, made the planet uninhabitable, I guess, because it was destroyed. And now they've found out that it's got all this grass and what, like they're like, well, now it's habitable again. Like then they're saying the cause of that is a divergence in the Force. Is the only thing that's strong enough to cause this, which is why they're investigating it. Divergence in the Force, I guess, is the twins. Well, not twins, but what we discovered to be one person. Yeah. So, where are you feeling? Because I know you were originally saying clones. We now have confirmation that, yes, they are one person split into two bodies. Is that clones? Because I never specifically said that. Or have they taken one person and used witchy magic to literally force them apart? Or are we really just going down the boring clones route? Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Because also, something about the clones would bother me simply because it's so far before when clones become such a big part of
all those
Star
witches
Wars.
died, so, they lost all their information about cloning.
Maybe.
Yep.
I mean, what do you feel after that? Are you still sitting on clones or?
Maybe. I don't know. Really, in the overall arcing story of this series,
probably doesn't.
It doesn't seem like it matters.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that the witches say that could be misinterpreted in certain ways. So it's
from a certain point of view.
Yeah, it's very funny because obviously their big thing is these kids have got to. What's the thing? She said something about sacrificing themselves for the coven or something.
Greater good or what? I don't know.
Something, and like, oh man, it's like, it sounds bad from the Jedi, but I'm sure from within the group, it's like a very honorable thing. Whatever. It's very. I just wish we had more answers about this coven and what they kind of wanted, what their intentions were, and that kind of thing. Will we ever get answers? Probably not. So it's kind of frustrating.
Well, I know this week that Leslie Headland said she would want to do a season 2 if possible. The problem with that is I don't think it's anything to do with the loud minority yelling about the series on YouTube.
No.
We just don't know if it's being
watched
viewed well. Yeah. That's the only problem. Because that's all Disney ultimately cares about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it being watched enough? Which we don't know. But I mean, the thing is, maybe, because it's so heavily complained about that, and the people that
the
hate
people
it,
who are complaining about it are watching it.
So maybe that's a good thing. Because they are watching it. And then when it gets announced for season 2, it'll be, oh my God, why are we getting another season of this?
Get a second season of this.
I don't know. You helped it happen by watching it. Where's
Obi-Wan?
There's a second season of Obi-Wan. It's called A New Hope, my dude. So, yeah, I mean, the way it plays, I don't know, it sort of plays out. You can sort of, looking back, it's like you can sort of see the writing on the wall for some things. But, so you've got the worst Padawan ever in Torben, who I saw someone tweet and said, is this motherfucker related to Skywalker? Because he is, or Anakin, sorry, because he is the whingiest little bitch I've heard. And I was like, you know what? You're not wrong.
I've seen a couple of things like pointed out. One, they've been on that planet for 7 weeks. Just collecting things and scanning them. And they took to week 7 before they revealed what the actual mission was to his kid, Well, why don't you just sit him down and explain what's happening, at the start?
He won't appreciate it.
I don't know.
Doesn't appreciate divergence.
I think everybody would be pretty bored, bored.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
be pretty bored.
Planet after 7 weeks.
After a while, they're putting things in whatever they're doing, putting grass in the canisters and whatever that does, I'd probably be bored eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So desperate to get back to Coruscant.
Really wants to get home, and that's the cause of everything that happens. Is just a Padawan missing home, which really
goes against
super
the Jedi teachings.
Yeah, goes against like this level of attachment to something is ultra non-Jedi, obviously. So,
which explains why he went into the vow of silence or whatever after these events.
Yeah. I've seen some people say that it doesn't make any sense why he would go into a vow of silence, but I mean his actions.
He instigated everything in killing that whole group.
He instigated, whether or not he realizes it there or it's a year later when the guilt finally gets him. Eventually, the guilt gets him to a point that he feels like he got everything that happened was his fault.
Yeah,
which it technically
is it enough to make him want to drink a vial of poison? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the. I guess it's the vial of poison in front of the girl. Like that's the thing, right? It's. I don't know. Maybe obviously that's the because he didn't drink a vial of poison. He could have drank a vial of poison at any point. I think it's obviously you got to May's appearance is the instigator for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, my dude just wants to get home, which fair enough. But also, you sign up to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Now, the second worst person in this episode is obviously Sol, who basically acts like he's a Padawan, and there's a really funny line I think where Indara's like, and this is the reason you don't have a Padawan. It's like, well, yeah, I can see why. Because
he just kind of gets obsessed with this idea that these kids need to be saved.
Yeah, and the biggest, he has like major white guy savior complex, but he's not. But he's obviously not a white guy. But
yeah,
but he's white knight and hard. White knight and over here super hard. He sees twins, says, "Hey, I just Osha. Like I can feel a strong connection to Osha. I believe she has to be my Padawan." And then proceeds to twice, or at least one time, very heavily show that he cannot fucking tell the difference between these two girls at all. Even though he feels such a strong connection to Osha. But then he can't tell that the girl who runs out right before he stabs mother, whatever, in the stomach, that it's like, Osha, but it was May, you dumb fuck. Like, such a strong connection. And I know that obviously this is the point. I'm not saying this is bad writing. Like, I think this episode goes back to some bad writing, IMO, especially like dialogue and whatever. But I think like this narratively, I get that the point is to point out that he doesn't, like, he thinks he has this strong connection. And again, super un-Jedi like actions and thoughts and whatever else to go against this. So but yeah, he just, and then right up into the end, and then Indara gives him that choice. And look, for a while I was like, maybe it'll turn out Indara's the bad one, because obviously she's the first to die and whatever. So like maybe she was the big, but like right up until the end, she does prove that she's the, she's trying to do, I guess, right and follow through and everything else. But she ultimately does make that choice to tell Sol to, we've done all this now, so might as well just do a cover up. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell the Jedi Council. I'm not going to do all this sort of stuff. Yeah. We get, so the theory I've seen for why Kelnaka, I can't remember the exact terminology off the top of my head, but I did see someone share a Wikipedia article, which, by the way, Wikipedia has gone to shit because I know what's going on over there, guys. Come and get your shit together. Anyway, the Wikipedia article where something about a Wookiee using their claws against, something like that is super,
wrong or something.
Super wrong and yeah, that sort of thing. And that's the reason why he is puts himself out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. There was an actual terminology, and I don't know what it was from, where this information came from, but it was a Wikipedia article where people were like, this is probably why. Because it's for Wookiees, that's super a big no-no. Which I'm like, sure, I can accept.
Makes sense.
However, I will say that Kelnaka versus everyone fight or whatever, especially coming off after the greatness that was episode 5, 4, whatever it was. Very rough. You can tell there's different directors and fight choreographer and whatever else is going on. That fight was nowhere near as it was just a lot slower. Which is weird because obviously I get that Kelnak has to fight slower or whatever, but it's still that element of like it didn't feel like it was shot or designed to show how powerful he was. It just felt like it was, just I didn't think it was a good fight. And
well, I mean, again, it's him being possessed. How much is that the possessed person or whatever? Not that it really matters.
Yeah,
you just got the impression that he could very much kill that kid, even though we know for a fact.
It's the thing, like. I know they were trying that, but I never
one
felt
him,
it.
Like nearly stabbing
the squeeze in his face or whatever. But I mean, honestly, I feel like if you want to go down the road of like I'm going to possess a Jedi Wookiee, I'm going to have that Jedi Wookiee go ham. I think they should have pushed that harder. I think that should have been a much darker scene. Much like he should have gone like full. Like it should have been scary. I think
he should have really gotten messed up and explained those scars.
Honestly, yeah. Like have my dude lose an arm or something.
A little bit,
No, like have him lose a limb. Like it's not like Star Wars people don't lose limbs. Like literally have Kelnaka rip off my dude's arm. I'm not even joking. Like this isn't a meme. I feel like something like that, him going full like Wookiee, like animalistic, make it super scary. I think that would have been a much better route than what we got.
Yeah.
It was a little disappointing when I was like, okay, we're finally going to Kelnaka's about to go off here. I was like, okay, he's just flying through there with the lightsaber. Cool. Now, what do you make of the lost smoke monster stuff?
What, them, just like them teleporting or whatever, like the night witches?
Yeah. And what did you make of what the mother, whatever her name was Jodie Turner-Smith's character was gonna do?
She was just gonna grab May and then try and get OSHA.
Because she was like forming together.
Yeah.
So were they gonna form into one smoke cloud? Is that what the?
I think it's just like Nightcrawler. Just smoke up.
Smoke up. Smoke up. You heard it here first. Just smoke up.
That's just the how it works. I know how the Force works.
How it works. I don't. Yeah. Thank you for finally explaining how the Force works to me. I wasn't aware you could just smoke it up. Yeah, finally. And I mean, really, that whole scene just plays out like a bunch of people who don't know how to communicate properly, or
just terrible misunderstanding.
Yep. One of them
Jedi breaking into their house again, and then being upset that they're a bit hostile. Just breaking it at the worst possible time as well. When they're having this argument about letting her go or not.
I thought you was about to say when they're having dinner, but anyway.
Second worst possible time.
Second worst, okay.
Yeah, and both sides feel sort of justified in what they're doing, but because of the miscommunication, they both look like.
I mean, the part where like she turns into a smoke monster, and then he, I guess, goes, "I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to stab you," which I sort of like at least the way the scene after that plays out sort of helps set up Saul's character for everything we've seen, where like he doesn't really like using his lightsaber because I guess he's learned that the one time he went for his lightsaber so fast, he ended up majorly regretting it. So now he just fights martial arts style.
Yeah, it also it does kind of inform him going for when he was fighting the stranger, and like he was very happy to just chop his head off. Like that was his gut instinct. That was his natural instinct.
Yeah.
To attack and kill.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So.
But I was sort of like, also when she came out of the smoke monster after she was stabbed, and she was like, I was going to let them leave. I'm like, what the fuck didn't you say that? Like,
because they broke into their house.
Yeah, but then why was she playing all, when she shows up, she's like, you fucker. I see you're here.
Because she's also like still trying to be the leader of this coven.
Yeah, I was going to let them leave.
It's very awkward, and I feel like with a little bit more time, which you would assume they would have had, they just need to expand a bit on stuff. I feel like, if every episode was like an extra 5-10 minutes longer.
Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to next week. Like, well, I am, but like,
yeah.
Like, what are we getting? A 30-minute finale at this point? Like, I feel like I need way more than that, guys.
There'd be a double episode finale.
Like, I've still so many questions. So, so much. Like, it's obviously just Soul landing on whatever planet they're on and having a showdown. But I'm like, in what I don't know at this stage what this showdown and the way everything could play out with these characters I don't know what would satisfy me at this point, to be honest.
Kumiya kills them all.
Everyone has this theory. So, have you seen the going theory? I don't know if this is going to count as a spoiler. Hold on, I'll find.
They're still on the Ren thing.
No, well, I mean that's still going, but I'm searching up Supergirl because I can't remember the actor's name. So David Harwood from Supergirl, also from Alan Wake 2. He was. That's the only other thing I can think of. He was apparently announced for the cast. And people every episode go, he hasn't shown up, he hasn't shown up, he hasn't shown up. So the going theory that people are currently on is that he's going to be like Kumiya's master or whatever. He's going to show up in the last episode.
And kill everybody.
Maybe. But that's the... And I do recall seeing news that he was apparently cast, but I'm also like... there's part of me that goes, don't get too attached because his character could have been scrapped or deleted scenes. Or, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like he could have been cut.
Yeah.
They don't do much advertising of losing roles or like being not sticking with the project.
No, exactly. So I'm like, I understand what like the theory that everyone's building, but also just because he hasn't been in the episodes yet doesn't mean he's actually in the show. Just because he was at one stage cast and anything else. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've been sort of. And then the other thing, I guess, is their weird little wavy dance mind control thing. If you break that, it just kills all their brains or something.
I mean, that's the interesting thing. Were they dead? Or they just knocked out?
We're supposed to assume they're dead, right?
We just assume they're dead.
We're assuming they're dead. There's one character
we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So maybe they were all still alive.
Possibly. What do you?
And it's really awkward because May could have just gone back to the coven and like woken somebody up. I don't know.
The one character who does escape is the other mother.
You would assume so because she
she smokes away.
Well, she does. She's the one who does whatever to Kanaka, so sets him off.
Yeah, but then smokes off.
Yeah, so
that's my terminology now. Also,
okay, good.
Just smoke off.
Smoke off. Smoke on.
Smoke off and smoke. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's. That's all I got for this. Anything else I've missed? What have we?
No, I've seen people complain about the fire like expanding too quickly. But they make it pretty clear that it's like
fire. Yeah.
She like gets it all in the electrical wiring and it's like.
Well, here's the other thing. Really people are like, how does this spy? I'm like, we don't understand what the material that stuff is made from. You're trying to relate it to real world shit. Like the easiest explanation, and I know people hate when this stuff happens, but just take your brain out for a second. Go in this fucking fantasy world. That material is more flammable than the stuff that's in your house. Right? Problem solved. Right? Because you don't know.
Yeah, the fire gets into the walls inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just spreads real quick.
Yeah. So like I understand.
Also, it's like this mining count has been must be hundreds of years old. You would assume if it was an uninhabitable planet for 100 years.
Yeah,
so it's gonna burn quick. The other complaint I've seen is people be like, "Oh, how did the Jedi not notice this giant coven of witches on this planet with their force powers?" How they not?
That's not how the Force works. I just remembered of a major complaint. Also, actually, sorry.
I think that's the thing that annoys me the most. It's like they think it's like a radar thing. Well, you just ping, and if you hit like an echolocation, if you sense another Force person within 100
send
meters,
your Force, you send your Force waves out.
Yeah, you just automatically know if someone's in 100 meters. Got the
Just
Force.
that Han Solo again. That's not how the Force works. But I just remember the number one complaint from this week's episode is Soul's Force powers with the bridge and the girls.
Oh yeah, wasn't he strong enough to carry both?
Or not only wasn't he strong enough, and I do get this to a degree, he wasn't either strong enough, or why try and hold the bridges? Why not just grab both the girls?
People make dumb mistakes.
Yeah. So the answer could simply be he made a dumb mistake. B, currently he doesn't feel like he's strong enough to grab the girls both. So he attempts to hold the bridges. I don't know what his thought process was going to be.
Well, they could have both walked back away from the bridge.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that part I do. This is one of those complaints where I'm like, I do get it. It is being memed to fuckery, but I do sort of get it. It's like just like if you can hold the bridges, which definitely weight. Like if it's a weight thing, I don't know how the Force works. If it's a weight thing, then surely the two little girls would weigh less than holding the two bridges. Just grab them both. Grab them both. And also, I'm saying
maybe
people
it's
be
harder
like,
to carry. It's easier to hold up inanimate objects
than real people, possibly.
Yeah,
possibly. Because I mean, we did see him. We've seen him use the Force better years later, but also maybe at this point he's not as strong.
Also, he wiped himself out stabbing that lady and then not fighting the other witch.
His self-doubt is not lifting his Force powers. But yeah, is what it is. Whatever. It was one of those times where I feel like the writing led the characters to somewhere, and then instead of something that actually makes sense happen, they've chose to make something I say more dramatic for dramatic's sake rather than what actually makes sense. Because they really want that moment where he has to choose.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, I guess. I'm like, he already chose. You don't need to show me he chooses. Like, I understand he chose. Osha, we're so related. Like, I get it. I've heard it all episodes. I don't need a scene.
You also put it in the context of he's telling May this. And this is also the thing that he never told Osha. Like, he had the opportunity to save either.
But we just had a scene where he didn't recognize which one was which. So I'm like, in that moment, did he?
It's true.
No, I don't know. Did he or did he not?
He used his Jedi Force powers to convince they're both the other one.
You will walk backwards. You will walk backwards. Yeah. That would have been the real Force trick. All right.
Wait, my last favorite thing from this episode is it opens. Someone pointed out at the start, it's on the left, it's Soul carrying Moss. On the right, it's carrying Moss.
Very good. Yeah. I'm glad that tickled something for you. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Acolyte Insights. Of course, back next week, season finale. Discuss that. Find out what happens. Hopefully it's longer than 28 minutes. But yeah, really, I don't want to say concerned, but I'm a little bit like, man, you got a lot. You got a lot to keep me.
Don't know if you can stick the landing.
Don't know if you can stick the landing is a good way to put it, yeah. But we'll find out.
How pissed will you be if it ends on a cliffhanger?
Yeah, pissed. I don't know. I wouldn't be pissed because I've got more.
Unless they confirm season 2, like straight.
That's still annoying me there. Still annoying me there. I feel like I want a story that like at least wraps up in this season. You can continue with some characters. I need something out of this season. So we'll see. Join us next week. Of course, check out explosionup.com for all of podcast news, reviews, I think that's just shoes. But anyway, fun things there. You can follow us on Twitter, explosionhour.com/Twitter. Join our Discord, explosionhour.com/Discord. And if you want to support the show and the website, explosionnetwork.com/support takes you to our Ko-fi page. We'll be back next week. Try not to get too angry on the internet. Goodbye.